Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our JustNoMil. In today's episode, I F42 threatened revenge lap dance to my husband M45. What would you think if your significant other did the same? MIL throwing a major fit over boundaries and being called out. MIL says to get rid of plushies. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I F42 threatened revenge lap dance to my husband M45. What would you think if your significant other did the same? My husband M45 is going on a trip to Vegas with the guys. I F42 said, "What are you gonna do there?" He sarcastically/jokingly said, "Hang out at the strip clubs the whole time." Then I said, "Okay, well, whatever you do gives me a free hall pass to do the same thing, get a lap dance or whatever. Okay, I know it's petty, but I don't like double standards." He's going there with a few neighbor guys and one of their wife's brothers. Our neighborhood is ultra gossipy and people are bad at keeping secrets, so I'm pretty sure I'll find out what they did if anything. The guy whose birthday they are celebrating is a major flirt behind his wife's back, and I'm assuming they'll hit the strip club at some point. 3 are married and 2 have long-term girlfriends. If your significant other threatened revenge stripper/lap dance, what would you think about that? Edit. Okay, there are vastly different opinions, from saying a lap dance is nothing to saying it's ridiculous for a married man to go on a guy's trip to a city known for strip clubs. But in general, people are saying to express my boundaries and how it would make me feel if he crossed them. So that is what I will do. And if I get shut down for trying to bring it up, well, I guess that will tell me what I need to know. Here's the thing. I don't know for sure if he's going to a strip club. I'm just assuming it by the type of guys he's going with. They're in their late 20s and he's 45. And isn't it common for a group of dudes in Vegas to hit the strip clubs? But if I were to just say, should I tell my husband he can't go on a guy's trip to Vegas? Without the rest of the details, people would say no, that would be too controlling. Final thoughts? I have read through the comments and this is my final thought. I am not going to say anything else to my husband about the trip because he already knows how I feel about strip clubs, and he has basically been trustworthy so far. But I am going to consider that the trip will help me find out how trustworthy he is. He is very prone to peer pressure from the guys. You both made very strange comments to each other. Sounds childish on both ends. And weird you say you would find out the truth anyway from your gossipy neighborhood. Do you not trust your husband? Seems so. Yeah, this whole post is gross. I would have guessed they were 19 years old. You are 42 and he is 45. You sound like teenagers. I agree. This is just so childish. You can set your own boundaries. I don't think strippers and lap dances are appropriate while in a committed relationship. If that is how you feel, you need to communicate that to your partner. You need to be prepared to hold that boundary. These are good foundation situations that determine if you are even compatible. Yes, you are right. I need to figure out when and how to communicate my boundaries. I might be called a prude, but it might just be an incompatibility. If your husband hangs out with cheaters, I'm sorry, he is probably one himself. About your behavior, you are not 15 to play games. Petty plans for petty people doesn't sound like anyone wins. MIL throwing a major fit over boundaries and being called out. My daughter was born at 34 weeks and spent 2 weeks in the NICU. My husband and I had set a boundary and vocalized this with everyone that there was to be absolutely no kissing. Over the last month or so, since my daughter is up to date on vaccines and almost 5 months old, we've been telling family that if they choose to show affection, it is strictly to be a kiss on the head, nothing more. Let's backtrack to when my daughter was brought home from the NICU. My MIL kept kissing her forehead, so we told her to stop. She stopped, but we'd see her secretly kissing her when she'd walk away with her. I bit my tongue because I'm a people pleaser and just was so mentally exhausted already. But my husband told her one visit not to kiss her and she commented, "Wow, we're still on this." Unfortunately, I didn't know about this comment until later. Had I heard it, I would have cussed her out. Probably LOL. She'd still kiss her side of the forehead, and so I became incredibly uncomfortable watching her hold our daughter each time. This last month, after saying head kisses are fine, I've noticed my MIL pushing it, She'd start kissing her forehead and then move to her cheeks. Then Sunday, she asks to hold her and I'm sitting a foot away from her and I watch her pull my daughter up to her forehead, give butterfly kisses and then kiss my daughter's open mouth, then proceed to hand my daughter off to my SIL, soon-to-be MIL. I grabbed her from the MIL because I was just so heated. We ended up leaving and then I texted her a very mature/respectful text about the kissing and she denied it. Then dumped this pin-up anger/jealousy she has on me about me keeping the baby from her. So I haven't talked to her since. She ended up blowing my husband's phone up that night while he was working and he showed me the texts. She spent over an hour telling him how I'm insinuating I'm alleging that she assaulted my daughter. My text stated no kissing because of cold/RSV and cold sores, that I won't let them babysit and that my mom gets to watch her while I work and it's hurtful to her. Then saying that I'm using her as a punching bag because of my PPD and PPA and that she's been hurting for months because she feels her relationship with my husband has dwindled. Like, hello, we have a baby and he's married with a demanding job as a police officer. Sorry, he doesn't cater to your every need. Needless to say, we aren't talking to her for a while. I didn't think me saying don't kiss our child on the face or mouth would lead to this. She's also a marriage and family therapist. Go figure. You'd think she'd understand. I dated a therapist for 5 years, and in those 5 years, he used every tool in his shed to manipulate and control me. He knew about the abuse in my history, and he turned it back on me. By the time I got away and stayed away, I was so mentally and emotionally broken I stayed away from dating, even socializing, for a literal decade. My unaware brother, upon learning that, yes, I did still hope to marry one day, jokingly asked if I expected UPS to deliver a man to my doorstep. Bad people who become therapists, who gain the knowledge of how to manipulate, to get into people's minds to learn their fears, their pain, their hopes, and then twist it all and use it to hurt them. I can't even begin to warn you enough about how careful you need to be with this woman, especially if this is her job and she's good at it. I'm trying really hard not to project here. Anything she puts in writing, keep it. Any voice recordings, keep them. If she's an actual licensed therapist and comes unhinged on you, any evidence of her behavior will be really important to have. If she ramps up, that tool shed will open. Good luck. And I'm glad to read your husband and FIL are starting to catch on to what she's doing. I was behind you all the way. But when I read she's a family and marriage counselor, I nearly chalked. This piece of information ramps this up even more. While not excusable, the MILs that behave like this may not know any better. But she's a trained and educated therapist and behaves this way? Nope, that's a hard no. For me, in an even longer timeout. Clearly, the woman needs to reevaluate her behavior and make some serious changes. Good luck, new mama. You've got this. A therapist that doesn't understand basic boundaries, how very interesting. I think Granny needs to be put into timeout until she respects your boundaries and can behave. MIL says to get rid of plushies. Some context, I, 31F, live with my partner, 28F, and cat in the separate guest section of her parents' house, which we pay them rent on. We currently don't have the finances to live on our own and have been living here for the most part comfortably for the past year and a half. On Saturday, FIL came by to fix our toilet and shower, which had been an issue for a while. He apparently had quite a lot to say about our way of living to MIL. So, just yesterday my partner got in a fight with my MIL. She went over to the main house to return some tools that FIL left behind, and MIL took it as an opportunity to lecture her about our life and me. Now, previously to this convo, I never had any issues with her, and in fact had helped my partner get her a nice gift for Mother's Day, so this came as a shock. We got her a Lego set from Costco. In my room and office area, I work from home. I have hanging corner toy hammocks that store my collection of plushies, which I have from over the years of being independent. My partner also has a smaller collection herself. I am estranged from my family, who as a kid made me get rid of all my beloved toys and plushes, which honestly still devastate me to this day. My plushies are really valuable to me, and my partner has no issue with them, in fact says they are cute. MIL says otherwise, and that instead I should just donate all my plushies to charity or kids in need, or kids in hospitals that could really use them. She also says that we should stop shopping from Costco and instead, but only from Target because it's cheaper, which is just another tacked on useless piece of advice MO, as we generally go to several stores depending on what's overall priced the best for what we need. This shocked and honestly infuriated me because it instantly reminded me of my childhood, and I fear this is the start of another toxic cycle where parents try to dictate my life. Also, the very nerve of her to talk about me behind my back to my partner is a problem in itself. I was so upset I honestly wanted to go over there myself so I could give her a piece of my mind, but my partner convinced me to calm down and think of an actual plan or way to respond first. Our livelihood still depends on living here, after all, and we want to keep the peace. But I do not want this to start a pattern of them telling me how to live my life, and kind of want to nip this in the bud, so to speak. I'm open to any advice on what to say to her and what to do, honestly, aside from just doing what she says, obviously. Update. Thank you very much for everyone's advice and kind comments. I shared this all with my partner, and she agrees that changing the locks on our doors is a good first step towards making us feel safe. We're also going to keep saving towards getting our own place and budgeting better so we can hopefully get out faster. I will protect my peace, my plushes, and most importantly my cat with my very life. Also, yes, MIL did want the Lego set as a gift. She does collect them, which is very ironic considering how she thinks of my plushies. In fact, the first set we bought for her was one she already owned, so she requested that we return it and get a new one. It was no trouble at the time since we got a Bluebird one at a similar price point, and we just wanted her to be happy. But looking back, yeah, the hypocrisy is like a slap in the face. Also, the set she really had her eyes on was about $200, but we definitely couldn't afford that, and I'm really glad we didn't strain our wallets getting her that. Zero hospitals or charities accept used plushies anymore. That was a thing kids in my generation, Gen X, would do, donate them to hospitals, and hospitals would give them to sick kids. There would be specific days at school where we'd all bring them in to donate, and we were mercilessly shamed by adults and peers if we were selfish by not giving our plushies away. This is exactly why so many Gen X adults either hate them or collect them. But these days, they're literally not allowed to be donated due to germ risk and bedbug risk. Hospitals that are given used plushies just put them right in the dumpster. Same with every other organization. Used equals garbage. If the in-laws persist, you can hide them all in space bags just to keep them from stealing them out of your space, if they're that nuts. As long as it's legal and doesn't harm anyone, you can collect and keep whatever you want. But please be mindful that because you live in their house, they will amp up the pressure, and I'd not put it past her to get rid of them herself. If you can keep the door locked, do so. But maybe it's time for the two of you to start making plans to move out. Change the lock on the door and install video cameras. If your in-laws ask you why, tell them you can't trust your landlords. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.